on a lock-in.
So Ori is an option, but it sucks into Syndra, so I don't necessarily expect to see it, given that that flex has been held for a very long time. At the same time, things like Lissandra can also be an option. You have really good kill threat into something like a Syndra. It's a very rough laning phase, however. Something like LeBlanc is more of a fight fire with fire option, and we've seen that be quite successful throughout this tournament.
Something like a Heimerdinger buffed on 919. Corki.
Okay.
Yeah, are indeed. Not like that. You could hear them. The aspirations of a Heimerdinger mid there for a second.
Yeah, certainly could have been a really good pick because of the control it gives, and already you have things like Barrel, you know, the ultimate's going to come out from slow.
That's Veigar bot lane. Veigar, Nautilus bot, Tristana top, Syndra in the mid lane.
Veigar is really good into Rakan.
Yes, as is Nautilus.
So the reason Veigar is really good into Rakan, for some reason we gave him a little bit of a buff, I don't know what it was, but you can't dash through his cage anymore.
Yeah.
It just stops you. So Rakan legitimately can't do his job.
Anything, yeah.
It's like, imagine if you're a commentator, and then I just took your microphone off.
I think some people have hope for that.
You wouldn't be able to do your job anymore, Benny.
It's true. I think this is a really good pick here from HKA. They've done their research. They brought it out. Haven't seen a Veigar yet this tournament, I don't believe, but it is very powerful into the Xayah Rakan. They knew they were giving Isurus the Xayah Rakan early on in this draft, but with that final counter pick, maybe they have thwarted every plan that the Latin American team had for this game.
It's also a really good peeling tool.
Yeah.
You just put it on top of the person that you don't want to die, and it kind of works in that way. However, the range is still going to be there from the Corki. There is a lot of elements of this Isurus Gaming lineup that we saw out of HKA actually last game. So certainly still have very good scaling, have the ability to be able to drag this game out late. However, I do think HKA still have some very good tools themselves. Veigar scales very well. We're also going to see Syndra with some legitimate one-shot potential, and Tristana, you know, draw a beat passive, very good laning phase here into the Gangplank top.
Yeah, good call on that.
Thanks, man.
I will give you credit for your prediction of the Tristana going into the top lane. We're into it. It's game number 4. HKA 2-1 up. The LMS third seed just moments away, perhaps, from securing their spot in groups, and we have a pause. A few more moments here for us to wait.
Certainly is going to be, and I think that I want to talk about something that I've just spotted out, and that is the fact that Veigar is going towards Glacial Augment.
Ooh.
And the reason that's really interesting to me is because this is going to be a Veigar that is all about the control.
Yep.
He's going to be building, you know, most likely Spooky Ghosts. The Twin Shadow pick up there is also probably going to be a Hextech GLP. And that means that he is very comfortable going backwards. What is normally a champion that isn't all that good if you're diving onto him. Now, with the fact that he's going to be providing those slows, the kite back is going to be there. This could be a very successful weak side bottom lane. It's going to be hard to pressure the turret due to the wave clear that he's going to have. He's going to have very cheap itemization as well. So I actually like this. I think that when you pick Tristana top, you kind of have to play around the Tristana top. So this is going to be a very self-sufficient bottom lane. He's got teleport, he's got glacial augment, he's got a big bodyguard in the Nautilus. That's certainly where my eyes are going to be, because I feel like if you don't have impact onto that lane, it could be quite difficult to have a win condition here for Isurus Gaming. Because Gangplank, he wants you to play towards bottom lane. He wants to just be able to farm up and then drop ultimates bottom lane whenever he can.
He definitely does, and I think that's where we're going to see the balance between these two teams. Will Isurus be able to find those plays? Because last time we saw Oddie on the Skarner, he really didn't manage to find many connections before people started picking up the QSSs. And here, HKA, crash on the Jarvan, easy level 2 ganker, very easy gank setup onto something like a Gangplank as well, who can't obviously get away from the knockup that easily. They have so many options on the top side of the map, and the HKA bottom lane has shown us they're pretty good at playing safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this could be a really hard game for Skarner to actually be able to do his job well, because you're going to have things like the Jarvan Cataclysm, like the Nautilus Ultimate. You know, we've already mentioned Veigar and the ability to stop engages that way, but you also have Buster Shop as well as Scatter the Weak.
Yep.
All you really do as a Skarner is scuttle towards people. I know Captain Flowers is going to be upset in me saying that, but it's a very hard team fight to be able to navigate without Flash. If he has to burn Flash before a team fight goes on, I think Oddie's job is nearly impossible.
And also, how's he going to get into a team fight if a Veigar just puts the cage down? You have to run all the way around that. You're going like all the way round a roundabout to try and get towards the backline. Then you have the Scatter the Weak, as we said. You've got the Cataclysm locking you out. You've got the Nautilus. He can just chuck a depth charge on you and knock you up. it actually feels very, very hard for Isurus Gaming here to find an advantageous teamfight unless they're quite far ahead.
So it's about getting ahead. Can you get ahead? It's going to be the aim of the game right now for Isurus Gaming.
Welcome to Summoner's
Good succinct point there. I agree with you. We're back into the game.
If you get ahead, it means you have more items. If you have more items, you do more damage. Then you can win the game easier.
30 seconds until minions
I've run the numbers.
Once again, Isurus looking for a bit of an invade here. Oddie will get his Spire. Of course, you can't see that on the mini-map anymore, but Isurus, they know that HKA aren't here. HKA actually going for an invade at the blue buff. Get a couple of wards down, or take a Spire of their own. And it looks like both junglers are going to go back towards their respective jungles to start this one out.
And Unified gets pushed back a little bit. I thought that they might have known that he was in that river brush. Could have been some shenanigans over the wall from slow, but not going to be the case. What I'll be looking for in this early game is actually a little bit more of the all-in potential of Xayah Rakan. If you start the double W setup, your level 1 is really, really strong. And you might be able to blow Unified's flash very early into the game. I feel like that could be crucial for Oddie to have an avenue of attack. So they're going to start them in lane. I think that this is a really smart choice from Isurus Gaming. It means you're going to get control over the wave. You get to decide whether you pull or push. I would like to see them pull this and force Unified and Kaiwing to approach this wave and fight them.
Yeah, because although Nautilus is a tank at heart, he isn't that tanky, especially when he hasn't really got that many stats under his belt. So if you can catch him out early, get the knock-up, get the extra damage down from the deadly plumage, those WW start, you can really shred through him pretty quickly. Unified playing very safe, just backing away. The wave is actually going to push towards the HKA base, so it's a lot easier for them just to stay safe there in the lane.
And this is one thing Gangplank can do, and it's a very useful skill in specific matchups. He can make a lot of matchups volatile. He can march at you and keep parlaying you and trade HP. Ultimately, that does put him in kill range, right? And with Jarvan pathing top lane, I don't know whether I love this choice. However, if Oddie was going to go for an early gank up towards the top lane or try and shadow win, this could be an opportunity to start a fight. However, now 3Z getting the wave under control, pushing back into Buggax. Could be a very rough laning phase. Gangplank doesn't deal well with anyone that can pop his barrels in laning phase, or a lot of his damage does come through that passive, that trial by fire. So lots more options here for 3Z to be able to choose when he goes for the all-in.
And he's going to go for it straight away. Has the damage down, has to flash away. That's so much coming out from the Tristana early on.
Yeah, this lane sucks. I said that the other lane was livable, you know, when you're playing something like Gnar into Aurelia. This one looks really, really difficult to survive in. That's already going to be a teleport back into the top lane. And just going to be taking a Fairy Charm up there, which unfortunately doesn't really do all that much.
Does mean you can use more parlays though. And in pirate speak, parlay is when you try and call a truce to have a conversation about things. I'm pretty sure that's what Buggax is trying to do in this lane right now. It's like 3Z, please, let's just have a chat.
But much like the Pirates from Pirates of the Caribbean, where I'm sure you got that knowledge from, they've thrown the parlay out the window eventually, which is great because it was a terrible storyline. And instead, he's just going to come back and keep shooting him in the knockout.
Yes, that makes more sense. And Tristana being the Buccaneer as well is kind of apt and fitting. We've got Pirate versus Pirate in that top side. Unified just about able to dodge away from that knockup. Warangelus now in the middle of the event horizon, but the damage is still down on Unified. Ignite is ticking. Warangelus doesn't have heal in this lane. Slow only has the cleanse as well.
And normally you don't talk about Nautilus's auto attack damage because you just walk away from him. But when you're just stuck in the battle arena, the Thunderdome, if you will, you can just see him using that W to be able to take pop shots. Very nice stun.
Slow is running cleanse in this lane to try and get away from some of those event horizons, because if you pop the quickness and get caught in one, immediately you need to be diving onto that backline. Oddie coming down towards bot. Hasn't done the usual Predator jungler clear here, which is a few camps, then you back, you get your Predator and look for ganks. Instead going for a full clear and now trying to shepherd his bot lane in towards that turret so that Crash couldn't find a gank.
Okay, and I'm going to do something that I never do on broadcast. I'm going to pray that this doesn't blow up in my face.
Okay.
You're a Rakan jungler, a Rakan
I'm a
support
Rakan
player.
support player, yes.
You're a Rakan player. Have you played much into Veigar?
No, I haven't played a huge map, but I could tell you how annoying it would be.
I was going to say, if you get stunned on one side of the event horizon,
You can only get stunned by one side of the event horizon.
Okay, that was my question.
As far as I remember.
Yep.
And production will tell me if I'm wrong there.
No, quoted. No one give him any health, and we'll watch for it throughout the course of
I'm
this
going to
game.
do a quick Google.
Okay. So we have Buggax trying to recover top lane. This is actually quite good. He's only 8 CS down. He has burnt his flash, however, and now his wave's pushing out. This is when the lane becomes a little bit disastrous. Tristana will...
Oh, just jump straight in. The explosive shot is ticking away. Buggax down to a third HP. It's the oranges. There's K for the moment. I'm going to say you can get stunned on both sides of it now.
Did you check?
I didn't check, but I'm doubting myself, Spawn.
Don't doubt yourself, Medi. If there's nothing else that we've learned from playing, self-belief is all important.
Sure, you got to play your own style, even if the knowledge you have for that style is incorrect. Crash here, invading the jungle, slow coming in. Gonna look for the knockup, lands it, but Kaiwing's gonna land at the dredge line. Dodge away there by Slow with the battle dance. Gets himself back towards his jungler, but it's a good little invade there from Crash.
Yeah, it certainly was, especially given the fact that Mission is level 6 and it's only a level 5 for Seiya. You can see he's starting to really struggle in this lane. 13 CS advantage for Mission. Should get a little bit easier if he's able to get towards that Phage, maybe even some Mercury treads for himself. But you can see right now at Cole, a little bit of a nightmare lane.
Buggax, yeah, just really struggling up towards this top lane. 500 gold lead for HKA. They're not running any Kleptomancies this game, so not getting any of that free passive gold, but getting a lot of active gold as he's starting to chip away at some of these plates.
And because it is a solo lane Tristana, I think Ejim covered this morning. Oh, very close to a solo kill up there in the top lane. Buggax should live off the back end of that satchel.
Yeah, his manager's just about to survive that. Explosive charge, not quite enough damage in the top lane, but that CS lead is starting to build for 3Z, about 15 ahead. And this wave crashes in, and Buggax no teleport to get back to the lane. Does have the cannon barrage if he wants to burn it.
And so pressure now is on Oddie. We said this is going to be a game with a heavily split map as cannon barrages actually drop top side of the map. You can see mid lane has been pushing in all game long. Top lane, absolute nightmare for Buggax. So Oddie needs to be able to get something done on the bottom side, or hope that he doesn't get counter-ganked on a player on the top side of the map. That is very risky to go for. So would more expect him to try and attack Kaiwing and Unified, but I already mentioned this. I can't think of, maybe even a better weak side duo lane. They're so non-committal in how they have to
have to do anything.
Yeah.
If you ever engage into them, it's just like, okay, we put the depth charge down, we put an event horizon down, lock you in the baby cage, and stop you from going anywhere. Wait until some help arrives. Double control ward in there. Doesn't give you twice as much vision, but the smite will come down. It's Oddie who secures it. Grand entrance used. There's the impale. Level 6 was hit off that blue buff. Here comes the event horizon. The disengage is there for HKA. Crash jumping in. Burst blood comes out for Unified. Just pops the ult and pops down Oddie. And now it's a 2v3 mission on his way. Warangelus having to flash out of it. Slow getting chased in. Warangelus there with the cataclysm. Seiya running down towards the bottom 5, but HKA take 3 in their own jungle.
What a terrific fight from HKA. They stall them out enough. They make it so that the mid lane priority allows the rotate for a mission. They fight on the mismatched numbers and they take over this game. That is now a 2,000 gold lead at only 8 minutes in. And in this situation, all series long, Isurus Gaming have very much struggled to regain control.
HKA just take a huge early game lead here. The Mountain Dragon, their next target. 2-on-1 up. They are 1 game away from making it to groups. Last time this team challenged for a group spot, they were pushed back. They were obliterated by Fnatic in a quick 3-0 in 2017. Here, coming in as the first seed, they are showing us just how strong they can be early on.
And this is what priority guarantees you. Because bottom side has priority for Isurus Gaming, they are there when this fight starts. However, a very good rotation from Unified traps Oddie into that baby cage. We said that was going to be a nightmare to deal with. And then Mission's early rotation off actually a neutral wave this time around. So just willing to sacrifice experience to be able to get into the team fight first. Chases out Seiya, allows the secure of the kill to come across for Crash. And this is a composition that does scale incredibly well with gold. You can see right now that the 3 gold leaders in the game are all from HKA. And it's going to be a steep mountain to climb back in.
Yeah, really difficult one. 3Z actually just taking over top 4. All from the LMS team. The 3rd seed coming in here, really challenging and pushing Isurus Gaming back early on. And we've seen Isurus, when they get ahead early, that's when they tend to win games. That's when they tend to take control of it. But with HKA having the advantage, this game's looking very much like game 1 already.
It certainly is. And you can see that 3Z is very aware of the keg that is sitting at the turret, lined there and primed. Doesn't want to push up and get chunked out. Doesn't exactly have eyes on where Oddie is either. So playing this respectfully. Not yet a turret plate taken down, but it is still a 24 CS lead. He has himself that Vamp Scepter, so pushing in is going to become increasingly easy.
Yeah, it should be a plate here. Just needs 1 auto attack. There we go. Buggax trading in with a parlay as much as he can. That grasp with the Undying proc will help him out just a tad, but 3Z has shown us if he wants to go for the all-in, he can just obliterate this Gangplank. And it looks like Isurus Gaming realize they're losing both sides of the map, so they're going to go for a lane swap here as they bring Slow and Warangelus up towards the Rift Herald.
And the reason I like this swap is because Tristana hasn't shopped just yet, so she's going to be slightly late to the play or going to have to teleport into what will be primarily darkness. At the same time, Gangplank at a 0 item carry is just going to be able to drop the ultimate and have much more impact in what could be a team fight. And it looks like that's going to be the case, Medic. Everyone rotating over to this Herald right now, and it is Seiya that's being cut off, so this could be a genuine 5v4.
Isurus Gaming trying to play the game at their own pace. Oddie chasing onto 3Z. The Rift Herald resets. Seiya looking to get in from the side of this, but at the moment, I think Isurus may have just given it up. The back has come out. Isurus just give this one up. HKA the ones to react, and Isurus made the play, and HKA welcome the Rift Herald with open arms.
And because they're split, because they can't get Seiya's damage into that fight, and then we've already spoken about the interaction between Slow and Unified's Veigar. It was going to be so hard to approach that fight in what was an even footage. As soon as 5 members rock up, I do respect the decision of backing away. However, now you're going to start hemorrhaging gold. This is not going to be a slow bleed out. You already have a Tristana who is crushing laning phase. Mid lane has normalized, but with a Herald to drop there, I think that this is an opportunity for HKA to really explode this game before 14 minutes.
Yeah, that Veigar's already sitting at 206 AP, has built up 77 stacks of his phenomenal evil power, the name of his passive. And it's just so much damage coming out from HKA, so much CC potential. It is the GLP build that you talked about earlier on for the Veigar. Isurus Gaming trying to play towards the weak side of the map.
This is a gamble. They're actually throwing multiple members down to 3Z. Here they go.
Here comes the quickness, lands the charm. They're looking for the Impale as well. They've got the suppression off, but 3Z able to survive, lands the buster shot at the end. In the end, Isurus Gaming take the kill, but HKA are playing the top side of the map.
Okay, so what do you lose? They drop Herald actually on the top lane. They're going to deny a lot of money away from Warangelus here. However, at least it is a trade. When you're behind, 2,000 gold especially, I do respect the boldness to be able to go for that play, you know, taking members away. They do also get a kill on top of what should be a turret going down. However, 3Z does have teleport, might be able to come back and save this.
I mean, he might be. The Bulwark is giving that turret a lot of extra stats. Of course, the more plates you take down in quick succession, the tankier the tower becomes. And now with the Rift Herald coming in, Unified looking for the damage. Primordial Burst is not enough to kill off Seiya. That's the Veigar ult used. And the tower will not fall. That tier 2 still alive. 3Z came in with a TP. Cannon Barrage used just to stop 3Z in his tracks.
Yeah, really nice use of the Cannon Barrage there, and as they still don't have any eyes on the Scorpion, not willing to, you know, maybe go forward and press it into that. Maybe could have won the 1v1, but yeah, if Skarner is there, certainly would have been once again throwing his life away. Turret still for the taking. So instead it's just a kill for a turret. 3 plates were still collected, however, for Isurus Gaming, and gold stays exactly where it was.
Yeah, about 2,500 the difference at the 13-minute mark here. A turret to nil, a dragon to nil in favor of HKA. First item starting to come in, the GLP for Unified. Looks like Blade of the Ruin King is going to be first up for 3Z. Mid lane, expect to be a Ludens here on the Syndra. That's kind of where you usually go.
Completely.
On the other side, you're looking for those Trinity Forces. You've got a Phage, you've got a Sheen on Buggax, you've just got the Sheen on Seiya. So when you can get that Trinity Force, you are a lot more powerful here for Isurus Gaming.
And then it becomes about how you approach the team fights. Can you come from enough angles? Obviously, we've talked a lot about the event horizon, maybe made it seem a little bit OP. But if he drops it in one direction, and we are able to see a flank come out from Isurus Gaming onto the backside of the fight, there are still legitimate ways to be able to win this. I am trying to rack my brain. I think it was Cloud9, the last team that might have played Veigar at a World Championship.
You know what? We can ask our team behind stage.
That's what I was kind of subtly doing.
Veigar, yeah.
I think it was played, you know, in the mid lane. It was played a lot with Caitlyn. It was played in these siege comps, and I'm looking down the line at kind of the siege capabilities of HKA right now. If these side lanes do break, I would expect them to play more of a 4-1 style as opposed to a 1-3-1.
Yeah.
Looking to just collect waves and turrets as opposed to trying to, you know, full court press. And that could allow, you know, Isurus Gaming to pick up more side lane farm than you potentially would think in a situation like this.
And that's the hope for Isurus. They just need to get whatever they can right now, because as you can see from the turret plates, HKA have been very much in control of this early game. Buggax here pushed back underneath his turret. Didn't get the connection with the 3 barrels, and now he is not in the best of shapes. Knocked up, stunned up, rooted. The CC chain comes in, and Crash gets his second kill of the game.
Yeah, beautifully played there. You know, as soon as that kill doesn't register, he knows that he's falling down. Doesn't burn any of his summoner spells either. That is just a well-executed gank, and they might even get the 2-for-1 special here.
We'll see if Isurus are going to be able to take top lane and mid lane turrets. Kaiwing coming in means it's very difficult, and the Veigar again so able to defend this sort of situation. That's the tier 2 falling in the bottom lane. HKA get the 2-for-1 special you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, they push in the first turret, you know, with Buggax going down, no ultimate going to be available either. Second turret is going to be pushed in on as well. Creep Wave was still surviving. However, they are trading gold onto the carry members. You know, we mentioned the fact that Corki, very, very powerful in these late game situations, has cashed in his cull, will be able to go back with the gold from the turret and probably be able to nearly complete that Trinity Force as well. And this is one of those games, because it's not a complete blowout, where the QSS tax becomes more relevant, right?
Yeah.
When you're only 3,000 gold up and you consider, you know, 15-ish is going towards that, it's going to be a very, like, difficult situation for Mission, because he has to make the choice. He has to go for this, because otherwise in rotations he's just a sitting duck. But it's certainly not his favorite itemization.
The good thing for him is the other carries on the team are in a really good spot in terms of damage potential. So Mission losing a little bit of damage early on isn't going to cost them too much in these fights. Of course, as you say, it is a big investment to have to go for, and he does have to do it. But HKA are just slowly extending that gold lead bit by bit. And now we will enter probably a little bit of a slower portion of the game. No Dragon up, no Baron up for 4 minutes or so. This will be the farming portion where we start to see a couple more items come in on either side.
Yeah, and if you're Isurus Gaming, you really hope it very much slows down for the next 5 to 10 minutes, because you need itemization right now. You need to be able to build towards that damage component. However, what I would like to see happen off the back, and I'm going to try something really risky here.
Okay. Oh, you got the zoom.
Okay, we got the zoom. What I was going to say is I would love to see this guy here just walk into mid lane. It works. We're getting there. The reason I would like to say that is I kind of alluded to the fact that I think that this is a really powerful siege comp if you're able to get multiple members into the mid lane wave. I think that Mission can sit top, can look to play that floating weak side. However, I would like to see HKA try and accelerate the pace of this game. Whilst I'm very confident if they execute well in these team fights, they're going to be able to win out. They are still going against, you know, the Gangplank, the Corki, the Xayah. All of these are very powerful 5v5 champions.
They really are. HKA just trying to get the vision control around this, maybe trying to pull Isurus into fights, but not having a neutral objective there makes it quite hard for Isurus to have to face check. But Crash now stepping into the enemy jungle, just walked over a ward, spotted it, knows that there's something happening. And HKA will try and get as much control around this blue buff as possible before that Baron does spawn. 3Z in the side lane, very content with where he is, 30 CS up. As a Blade of the Ruin can complete, but now Buggax has his own Trinity Force. So Gangplank, as we've talked about so often, weak side of the map, even when he falls behind, can still have an impact on the game, because all you really need is 1 or 2 items to be able to have that Cannon Barrage do a bunch of damage.
And so instead of rotating 3Z towards the play, it's actually going to be Mission that sacked his side lane to be able to rotate down. Was able to team up with Crash and, you know, walk the safe way through. However, because they weren't able to pick anyone in the jungle, and they still haven't been able to, you know, pressure in on this turret. Double Mages isn't full. Quickness.
Stun's gonna land there. The knockup still coming out onto Unified. Depth Charge will connect. Seiya looking for the chase here. Oddie going in, but Kaiwing can just jump away. Buggax trying to trade onto 3Z, who jumps over the Cannon Barrage, and now Buggax has to run back through the cannon shot. Parlay doing a lot of work here. Grasp helping out a lot. 3Z trying to heal up, but that Buster shot shouldn't be enough. One more parlay here from Buggax should just take this kill. 3Z still has the flash, but the flash in from Buggax will take him down. And the strong Tristana in the side lane doesn't look like that anymore.
And this is the worry, right? If you just allow it to scale, if you allow Gangplank to get his items, it's going to be a very difficult game. One Keg hits and he can always go for that all-in potential. And they're able to get a turret as well. Split side of the map does not seem to be working for HKA. Would much prefer to see them group and force with all the team fighting tools that we keep highlighting. They really are online. You can see Blade of the Ruin King, BF Sword. They've already picked up that stone plate for Crash as well. All of the utility was there. You saw that the force from slow, completely ineffective against the Veigar. Let's take another look at this. So it's actually 3Z going for the fight, goes back for another jump in. And just, I think, a miscalculation here. Could have the choice to walk out. He can walk out towards the top side of the map, but doesn't go for it.
Like here, like you see that parlay hit, why are you chasing further forward?
Potentially he thinks that members have already rotated into bottom side jungle. So he's going to die anyway,
Okay,
right?
so you don't
he
want to
has
give the
stick
assist
away.
over. Yeah, that makes sense.
That could potentially be the option. However, I think it was only Slow that had really moved down to that portion of the map. Would have been able to get away, in my opinion. Everyone else was more concerned about trying to defend the top lane turret. But obviously, we have God mode, Observe.
Yeah, we have perfect vision, omnipotence.
No, we definitely do
omniscience.
not have perfect vision.
Oh, we both got glasses on.
I don't know if you've seen my prescription, but I have far from perfect vision.
You have full awareness of what is going on Summoner's Rift.
There we go.
I'll give you that one. 2 kills to 4. Isurus Gaming trying to fight back in this as they fell behind early on. Across the course of the series, games have tended to be on the longer side. 20 minutes, looking about another 15, 10 to 15, depending on how the next few fights go. But there is a 4,500 gold lead for HKA that continues to extend piece by piece, bit by bit, over the last 5 minutes or so.
But every now and again, I do like to think about gold as more of a percentage, as another very nice baby cage will go down, and that's starting to do some damage to the Slow.
Yeah.
So if you're down 2,000 gold at 10 minutes, I think it's like, that's a big lead.
Yes.
4,000 gold at 20 minutes is still quite a sizable lead.
It's 10%,
but I feel like,
10%,
yeah,
right?
it's getting slightly less as the game goes on. And I think that HKA probably wouldn't be content with how this game has stalled out, because Buggax and Seiya are starting to build their way back into this lane. And in fact, it's Buggax at 600 gold up over 3Z now.
He's in a really strong position. It's managed to fight his way back through the game. I was just having a look. Unified is maxing the Event Horizon second. Get a longer stun on it, shorter cooldown as well. So makes a lot of sense on the Veigar to get that cage down as often as possible.
So is he going W-E-Q?
No, he's gone QE. Now he'll go W as the
Yeah,
final.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. So depending on the amount of creeps that you pick up, depends on the cooldown of the W coming across, and it's just a big AP ratio as well.
I mean, he's got 150 stacks on his passive already, so he's sitting about 380 AP without really going for down a normal AP route. You know, there's no Ludens, there's no Rabadons here. It's the Super Soaker Spooky Ghosts build that we see when you go for the Glacial Augment.
And this is what you would expect to see, probably because he has item cooldown reduction as well. He's going to go towards something like Azonius. He realizes that he's eaten this composition for his utility and the ability to be able to keep 3Z alive and healthy. Getting an additional rotation out of that Event Horizon is probably going to be more valuable than any damage he can do at this stage of the game. So I really do like the build. Eventually he's going to go for a Void Star. As you mentioned, just through farming, he's getting these big AP values. So wants to be able to itemize as efficiently as possible. But you can see that the game was kind of being played slightly on Isurus Gaming's side of the map. You know, they were getting pushed past neutral, but they were doing a good job of keeping their turret up. Both tier 2 side lanes are down.
Oh,
As 3Z's in trouble.
Has Flash, could look for the jump away, but Buggax just chasing him down. Oddie on the way with the Predator. There's the jump. Still Flash available. Oddie might go for the Flash hit. Doesn't even need to use it. The Impale connects. Buggax, 3 kills. All of his team's kills. We saw him try to carry on Aurelia last game. We'll see if he can be the carry for this team on Gangplank in this one.
And the problem is that now they're starting to get pushed back. Now they're playing slightly behind neutral. And every time you overextend, it gives an opportunity for Oddie or someone else, like Slow, to be able to rotate into that side lane and pick it off. That's why I want to see them transition their pressure into the mid lane. They haven't been able to do that. I keep mentioning, as long as mid lane tier 1 is up, approaching Baron is nearly impossible because you can always come through mid, which is the safest way to do it.
Hey, look at where Buggax is right now. With the Demolish, he's almost taken this tower already. Mission going back to base. Buggax is going to take this turret. You have to feel, and 3Z, yeah, he's got teleport, yeah, he can go and try and answer some of this, but this is HKA forcing a play. They're forcing the hand of Isurus. Buggax with the teleport, hasn't gone back and spent, but now HKA forced off the cannon barrage from the other side of the map. Buggax once again influencing the play.
Yeah, that's a really big cooldown used, and once again, because this wave was already clear, they can't wait out the cannon barrage and then reapproach. However, they do get the global out. But Buggax, now up in gold, up in experience, has gone back, completes his next item, gets himself some Brawler's Gloves. You can see what's on the mind at the moment.
He's here to fight. Isurus Gaming came into this final game perhaps on their last leg, so what could have been a final game? 2-1 down. A disappointing loss in Game 3, I think you have to say, and now they are showing just how much they can fight back. Slightly better composition all round. Oddie has been a bit more active on the map, but really what they've done well is slowing HKA down, keeping HKA at arm's reach during this mid-game portion of the matchup.
And you can see that Buggax understands the importance of the mid lane turret because he's rotating into this mid lane to help keep it alive until he must answer the bottom lane now. Wants to be able to continue. Corki scaling up into this game. Xayah scaling up into this game as well. And I think this has been a much better defensive game than what we're normally seeing. This isn't seeding area. This is looking for your opportunities to make plays, you know, gank onto the Tristana, and then being able to defend specific areas where if they group as 5, you'll just fight at this stage.
Well, we'll see what the next 10 minutes or so hold, because neither of these teams are going to give it up without a fight. Let's have a look at where we are in terms of itemization. Mission now has his Rabadons alongside that Ludens. We've got the 2 items sitting on the Veigar that we previously mentioned, but Infinity Edge now complete on 3Z. Does give him a little bit more, especially if he does join up in team fights. That Tristana on a backline with her passive scaling up as the game goes on can be an absolute menace.
Still probably need something like a rapid fire cannon or a static shift before I'm really willing to say, you know, Tristana has arrived at that late game. That's the thing about going Blade of the Ruined King. You really do have to run over your opponent, I feel, to make the trade-off of itemization and scaling worthwhile. You're not really going to be taking out the most tanky members either on the lineup of Isurus Gaming, so I feel like it was more built for the lane pressure and healing that it was able to provide. Also, that all-in.
Constant pressure you can put down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that now, I don't even know whether he does gain pressure in the 1v1 side lane.
I mean, he hasn't the last couple of times. Buggax has just beaten him out.
So then you would wonder, why he's sitting down here? If he can't collect the wave
at some point.
I mean, sure, but he's going to full one-hit this wave right now. You can see that Buggax is seeding. He has to walk up and approach this mid lane, in my opinion, because if they don't break this turret, they're going to have no pressure over Baron. You can hold this area for as long as you want, but with 2 Farside Orbs, you know, the Plu Trinkets, with the ability to drop Cannon Barrage, it's going to be very hard to trick Isurus Gaming into an outright face check.
Okay, because this is interesting. I want to pick your brain a little bit more about this, because you talk about breaking the mid lane tower, and that bit I understand, but we always talk about the bounce back and the catch and throw of bot lane pushes, right? So when I look at this, I think, okay, what does the Tristana want to do? Well, she wants to get this past the mid wave as much as possible and force Buggax down towards that bottom wave, so he then has to push it back. And this opens up space in the mid lane for his team to play around, and that's what they're doing right now. Crash actually jumping underneath the tower, the cannon barrage coming out. Wave yet to be cleared, the tower quite low, it will fall as Unify takes it down in the middle. And this is what I was expecting to happen from the Tristana, keeping the Gangplank down there.
But once again, it's actually Mission that rotates to make that play work. I think that Mission should be the person that is holding his wave, and 3Z rotating to the play. However, now Seiya overextended.
He's got the package here, and then the Valkyrie afterwards. They shouldn't be able to chase him down. This would be a big... Unified would have to flash or something with the Event Horizon. I mean, Seiya burns the package, but he won't be too worried about that.
And he also got the wave out as far as it needs to, probably looking for a shot. However, Oddie caught.
With the Event Horizon, I was kind of hoping he'd run through the other side of the wall there, so we would have seen.
He's got an adaptive helm. He's actually really beefy against everyone apart from 3Z and what they have to offer in the current team composition. So now with mid lane turret down, you can see that it is more of a group and force attitude that HKA want to have. But I feel like, you know, we were talking about a 2,000 gold lead at 10 minutes and 4,000 gold lead at 20 minutes. Now, it's like a 3,000 gold lead at 30 minutes. That's nothing.
And there's 100,000 gold in the game, so you're looking at 3% of the total gold in the game here in HKA's advantage. Not too monumental at all. And you've almost got Infinity Edge completed on Warangelus. You've got 2 completed items on Seiya. And a Phantom Dancer as well for Buggax. He's going to be absolutely devastating if he can get into one of these fights.
Yeah, and now I think he just kills 3Z in the side lane. So this is what I expect to see. One of the weaknesses, I think, of Red side is that the Baron approach is much more in favor of a blue side team. So going to have to control multiple areas. So what we're looking for right now is you get priority over mid lane. When we mean priority, we just mean push. Okay, so you're going to push down this mid lane wave. You're going to force them to collect the wave as far back as possible. Then you want to be able to get vision over these 2 areas because you need to protect the approach. Once you have that and you've held it for long enough that you know their vision isn't there, you can just look to generate fights off Veigar's Event Horizon. And that's why Isurus Gaming are so interested in fighting in the setup, because this is when your team comp is at its weakest, when you haven't held the vision for a long period of time. Because you have to think about things like flank wards, the ability for the team to get behind you or approach from multiple different areas.
There's an Infernal Dragon coming up in 45 seconds, and I'm sure Isurus will want to fight over that, because Infernal on either side this game is incredibly impactful. You get so much extra damage out of a Syndra, out of a Veigar, out of a Tristana, and then you look at the other side, Gangplank, Corki, Xayah, all of these champions want that extra AD and AP to really supplement them. Teleport's going to come in by Mission. He will join HKA in the river, and it looks like they are just trying to control this area as much as they can.
Okay, so 2 members showed on wards just then. So once again, no need to face check anything.
I
Whilst
think
the
they're
2
starting it.
blue trinkets are down.
I think they're starting it. I don't think Isurus Gaming respect the fact they can do this without the Tristana. It's already down to 9,000 HP. Isurus need to react. Oddie on his way, unified there. Acting as the bouncer, acting as the middleman between HKA and their targets. Oddie going in with the Predator. The Baron down to 2,000, and they're still targeting it. Oddie needs to get in there, but already it's been secured by Crash. Charm coming out. Kaiwing goes golden. 3Z on the back. The Impale coming out. That's 1. Crash is dead. 3Z looking to jump away, but he's stunned up. He'll kill slow. He flashes the wall, and HKA get out with 4 Barons left alive.
So really good job of HKA. You were right. They thought that without Tristana, that was going to be too slow and they would be able to arrive in time. It is ultimately just a 1-for-1 trade, however. And as jungler is dead, this should be an uncontested fire Drake. So still something back on the other side of the map. Whilst we said things like Veigar, Syndra, they're going to love an Infernal Dragon. Heck, Corki as well as a Gangplank and a Xayah also probably going to enjoy having that. A massive gold injection for Isurus Gaming, despite what it shows on the scoreboard. But this is why holding pressure is so important in League of Legends. You know, you get the Baron down to 2,000. You know that Oddie is going to have to risk flashing into the team. It's just really good layering of CC to ensuring that that doesn't happen. And over-aggression from slow means the lockup isn't there. Then it's very difficult to fight against this composition. Let's not forget, this is still a level 16 Tristana. This is still Veigar as well as Syndra, who have great teamfight presence.
The zone control from HKA is incredible to watch. You can see HKA with that Baron gold injection have got a bit of a lead, about 5,000 gold ahead after Isurus were able to stall it out around the 3,000 gold mark. And now HKA just grouping up as 5. They don't need to play the side lane. They can force Isurus Gaming into a choke and take it on 5v5.
And we'll see what the Isurus response is right now, because they do have 2 teleports up and available. So they can look for a creative flank, but you're talking about a Corki, you're talking about a Gangplank, or maybe a Xayah in the backline. These are not necessarily the targets you want. So the siege is going to be quite difficult to deal with, I feel. Baron up creeps, very hard.
They're looking for slow. They're going to see if slow can get in here. HK have done a really good job of getting Banshees on Unified, having a bunch of QSSs as well, which makes it very hard for Oddie to pick a target because basically everyone can just get out.
So whilst you're right, they're looking for slow. These 2 wards right here are going to ensure that they can have a side of the map to hug. They know that every single time they approach this mid lane turret, they can just hug top side. And Slow's not going to have any opportunities to be able to get the engage he wants. And this is really smart from HKA, because all you need to know is where he isn't to give you some form of safety. You don't necessarily have to have eyes on the Rakan, especially with no flash available. You know we used that in the last team fight. And now with Baron, the siege becomes relevant again from 3Z, because it is going to be very difficult to clear out these waves.
Seiya's the one dealing with him in the top lane. Buggax in the mid with Warangelus and Oddie. Top lane turret takes a little bit of damage. Mid lane down to about half HP. Oddie looking for the engage, the event horizon onto Buggax. He's stunned up. They're not going to be able to find anything more out of it. HKA just chipping away. Baron's still there for 30 seconds. They have another wave to play with.
And you can just see that they're willing to bounce the waves in, not perfectly in unison, which means it is much easier for a team to be able to rotate and cheat through the base to defend. Would like to see 3Z actually grab his next wave without pushing in. However, the base might just be broken without it.
Inhibitor tower goes down in mid. The slow coming out onto Warangelus and Oddie. Buggax down towards the bottom side of this, unable to join. 3Z almost broken that top lane inhib as well. Now HKA go down towards bot. The Baron about to expire, but they might look to take away as much of the Isurus jungle as possible. There's not really much left for them, so they won't get anything. But for now, HKA with a 6,000 gold lead have broken that mid lane inhib.
And it is only going to be the base broken in one area, and mid is the easiest area to deal with. Everyone on the side of Isurus Gaming just destroys super creeps at this side of the game, so I don't think that's necessarily the game-winning play that HKA were looking for. However, now that they've shoved them back as far as possible, you know, things like the Elder Dragon setup becomes much easier. And whilst I said that you would love to be on red side for your Baron setup, Elder Dragon setup on red side of the map is, on red side of the map,
blue side for Baron. Yep.
Correct, is much easier to go through. They have to run through 2 very narrow chokes or get control of the mid lane wave. When we're talking about the chokes that you can go towards, you know, it's going to be these chokes that are just prime areas for the Veigar to be able to set up around. Maybe not even necessarily going for it, however.
Yeah, slow stepped quite far forward here. HKA just trying to get control over the blue side jungle of Isurus, which tends to imply they want to go for the next Baron, which is up in a minute and a half. They know that that inhibitor tower is low. Here comes Crash straight onto Warangelus. Manages to get away from the event horizon, but the Cataclysm comes in. Crash is low, rooted up, charmed up, impaled. He's down. Buggax on a killing spree, and now Isurus in a 5v4 might try and fight Kaiwing. It's a double for Buggax. HKA took the fight, but Isurus slapped them down.
And the carries of HKA just cannot run into that choke point because they weren't there first. You saw all the feathers down, just zoning away everyone else. Still barrels to deal with. That is an overreach from Crash. Using everything, and with only 59 seconds left until this Baron is going to respawn, there is now an opportunity for Isurus Gaming to be on map first and maybe even be there with the Elder Dragon.
We'll see if they can get there first. They are dealing with some pretty high DPS numbers coming out from HKA, though. Unified sitting at 872 AP right now with the Rabadon's complete. Mission has one of his own. The Tristana still alive. Infinity Edge, Rapid Fire Cannon, Blade of the Ruin King. Truly online now, and the TP's coming. HKA looking for the base. 3Z's going to jump away, but Mission's here as well. It's Buggax and Seiya trying to defend. Two players that have stepped up across the course of this series against 3Z and Mission, who are going to break the inhib here. Isurus Gaming won't be able to defend it. The Elder Dragon still the target for the rest of Isurus, but Unified's bringing in the mid lane wave, and maybe HKA will just go for the base. There's the Elder Dragon down. Crash is caught out on the other side of it as the charm comes out. He's popped the gargoyles. He tries to EQ away. He'll escape, but look at the base. HKA are still pressing in. The Nexus Tower's first to target. Isurus maybe have made a huge mistake. The Cannon Rush tries to clear out the wave. Unified flashes forward, misses the event horizon, but now the Nexus target is the target, and Buggax is down, and HKA on the second time of asking are making their way to Worlds Groups.
What a decision. They go for the base race. They just say, you know what, we don't want either of the neutrals. And they're able to push in as 3. It looked like an overreach from Crash. However, his death does stall out the backs from the enemy team, and he's able to delay long enough for HKA to make their way to group stage.
Incredible split-second decision-making there from HKA. Went for the base, went for the win. And you can see how much that meant to Isurus Gaming. Buggax on your screen had just an incredible performance in Game 2. Really tried hard on the Gangplank in Game 3, but on his second international competition, once again, to come short of making it to the main stage.
And honestly, what a crazy series in general. We had teams with massive early game leads, fail to generate mid-game pressure. Even in the opportunity of Isurus Gaming, when they had that early game lead in Game 1, weren't able to translate it at all. But you have to say for HKA, they showed more styles throughout this. They showed the ability to play towards the top side of the map, to make clutch decisions when it counted and go for things like base races, the decisiveness to pull the trigger on Baron in this game. I think they certainly showed up on this day, and I'm very confident, that's a better team going through the group stages.
I agree with you there. I think the flexibility they had in draft really paid dividends as well. The first pick Syndra into then picking Veigar as your final pick. Having those different options definitely paid off well for them. It's on HKA going through to the group stage now. As the #1 seed, I think a lot of people expected most #1 seeds to go through this game. Perhaps was the one that people thought there might be an upset in, but HKA prove us wrong today.
And it's been quite decisive.
Yep.
We've played 11 games, and now Seed 2 teams have only picked up 2 wins.
Yep.
That is a very good win percentage right now for the Seed 1s. I'm not doing the math on the fly. We've failed it way too many times now, Medic, to make this one work.
It's like 9% per win, so that it's like 82%.
There we go, 82%. Ish.
Yes, and it's great, and I think Splice will be enthused looking at those numbers, but the Unicorns of Love later on will definitely come out swinging to give them a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely, because I think if you thought there was going to be an upset, it might have been in this game. Yep. Unicorns will have an opportunity. However, I think they have to do what HKA did in this game and show diversity through draft. That's what I love from the LCL, that ability to change things up when it matters.
We're going to have a look at some of the highlights from that game in a minute, I believe. But for now, what I want to do is tell you quite a fun story. So the last time HKA were looking to make it